Hey everybody, welcome to the Vitruvian Live. Today is Wednesday, July 10th. It was a tough day at work. I didn't have that much work, but everything that came to me were problems. It feels like I'm not planning, but problem solving all the time. It's craziness. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, I was close to having a fight, not with fists, but having a verbal discussion fight with my boss, but luckily that didn't happen. I decided to keep my mouth shut, and luckily enough he did as well at that moment. So yeah, that was that. I'm glad this day is over. 2 days to go before weekend. Everything will be just fine. It has. I've been working there for almost 2 years now, and there is stress, there are deadlines, there are problems, but in the end, most of the time, everything just turns out just okay if you work hard enough and think about solutions and work together. That's very important as well. Anyway, I'm wearing my football shirt of KV Mechelen, my favorite team here in Belgium. Now, I did an episode before when they were champions, or when they were going to play for championship in second division, and they were champions, and they also won the cup this year, even as a team in second division. So that was pretty cool. Now then, a bomb exploded, and there were rumors, talks. There might have been bribery going on, things that weren't handled the way it should be, and so on. So this whole process started, in which, for me, and I'm just talking about the way I see it, because of the things I have read. I followed the process quite well. They were live streaming the process, not with images but with text, and so I could follow the process. And for me, it was clear that most of the things that happened, or the main thing that happened, was that there was this broker who has a lot of players in Belgium under a contract. He took the step to go to certain people and try to fix the last match of previous season, which was important because that was for delegation. So he didn't want that to happen, that KV Mechelen was going to relegate, because he had players in that team and their value would drop, of course, because they went to second division. In the end, my team did relegate, even though they won their last match. The other match that was very important in that case was, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, way more suspicious. But that was not a problem. So they focused on my team. Well, the team that I'm a supporter of. And so this process begins, and they were investigate the game, that match, that last match of the season. And the other team, who, if something had happened, would have been as guilty as mine, right? Because they they did what we wanted them to do, so they also fixed the match, if it happened. They were very early in the process, they were acquitted, which was strange, because that meant nothing happened, right? Now, the problem was the broker guy. He was something, and I don't know if there is an English word for it. Let me look it up. English. Let's see. He was. I don't know if it exists. He was working together with the investigators. Problem is, he could not be a witness. Well, not at least openly. He could tell the investigators whatever he wanted to tell them, but he wasn't allowed to talk during the process. So the teams couldn't defend against anything he said. which was a little bit weird. On the other hand, there were phone taps, which were very vague. So they had phone taps, they said, and they had small pieces of the phone taps that they had showed, or not even played, but they showed experts of it on paper. Very small pieces of many phone calls that they apparently tapped. The teams were not allowed to hear the complete conversations or to see the complete texting. So it was so one-way thinking of the people that were trying to get my team punished. And in the end, it was clearly that they just were looking for a black sheep, for someone to blame, some guilty party. Now, in the end, it is a process with all its stuff, all its ways to try to get away from a process by mistakes in a procedure and stuff like that. And it's sad that the lawyers had to do it that way, and they couldn't do it in a different way. They didn't have the options to go and defend themselves in a normal way. They had to go for mistakes in the way procedures were done. And in the end, they went to a different channel, and today, finally, they got cleared. So they are not relegating again. They're not being punished. UEFA still has to decide if they are allowed to play European football, because they won the cup, and normally they play European football as well. That's something UEFA has to decide still. But in the end, we are playing in First Division next year, and I'm so relieved. Now, there are teams, of course, that wanted us not to go to First Division. The team that was last in First Division last year hoped to stay there. The team that was second in Second Division hoped to go to First Division instead of my team. There was even a team in a couple of divisions lower that hoped that my team would relegate multiple divisions so they would go to a higher division. Craziness all over. Now, one of the most important teams that is, affected by this is called Beerschot. This is a team, it is an old team, also a lot of history in this team. Also a team from Antwerp, the province of Antwerp where I live. And it's a traditional team that deserves to play in First Division. So I really hope, and I mean that, even as a supporter from another team, I mean that I hope they will become champions next year in Second Division and will join my team in First Division next year. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I also mean that I hope that the persons that made mistakes, that did some things that are not allowed, because there's probably has been something fishy, and there might have been attempts to do something, but it was not the team that tried it. There were individuals that tried it, who saw, and I'm mostly talking about that broker, who tried to save a lot of money by trying to bribe someone. It was clear that didn't work, and it was clear that the other team didn't go into the attempt, but the team and their supporters and most of their members of the board, they knew nothing. That's clear. That's so clear. Now I cannot prove anything, but they also can't prove that we did it. And I hope that we are innocent until proven guilty, and that other teams and other supporters respect the decision, and we can just play football next year without being booed or being shunned as cheaters. Because in the end, we aren't. And in the end, we, last year, because this is all about 2 seasons ago, last season, we did fair and square win the championship in Second Division and won the cup. That's it. So that's it for today. I know this might not be very interesting to many of you, but I needed to get this out of my system because I'm happy, I'm relieved. But also, honestly, I'm sad for people or other teams that hoped that they would get their spot instead of us. But we won it in a sport in the way that we deserved. We earned it last season. The season before that, things might have happened, but I really believe there was something going on. Some people, or one person maybe, tried something, it didn't work out, and then they wanted to punish the whole team for it. And I thought that was a little bit indecent. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope you still found it interesting. What do you think? If you hear my story, even if someone bribed someone, one person bribed maybe one person, even if that happened, should a complete team be punished or not? Let me know what you think in the comments below. It doesn't have to be a complete discussion, but just let me know what you think about it. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye bye.